What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Friday Night Smackdown post show. It's your girl, Denise Salcedo, and I am joined by Robin Lundberg. Robin, how are you? Good to see you.
What's good, Denise? Are you in a different spot?
Yeah, hey, did you notice that? Plus, I also got a brand new chair. I don't think you've seen it.
I do notice it looks like a comfy chair.
Yes, it's my big black chair that I have that everybody was laughing at because it's so huge. Like I'm literally sinking in it. Like you can't even fit. Look, the whole thing doesn't even fit in the frame, or it barely does.
It's the kind of chair like you press the button to destroy the world in.
Yes,
right?
this is the one that I destroy people with. I just turn it. I'm like, boom. Oh man. Hey Robin, I heard the WNBA finals are today. Game 4. I don't know.
Yeah, it's about to end right now.
Oh shit, but like this is the championship, right? Like someone today is going to hold up a championship.
The Aces are most likely going to hold up the championship. They were up 3-0 in a 4-game series, and they're up 10 points with 3 minutes and 20 seconds left. So it's a pretty good bet that they will be winning the championship very shortly here.
Oh shit. Okay, so you're gonna have a busy night then, because for those of you who don't know, Robin covers the WNBA.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir is like, I just, yes, sir.
Sir.
Texture, chinchilla. No, but yes. I always have a busy day and busy night, Denise. We need to figure, I saw you unplugged the other day. I need to figure out how to do that.
You saw me unplugged?
Didn't you say you unplugged for a few days? I thought I saw a tweet.
I thought you meant like unplugged, like on some sort of platform or show named Unplugged. And I was like, unplugged? I wasn't unplugged.
Like you were playing an acoustic guitar? No.
No, yeah, I took like 3 days away from social media. And actually, yeah, it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then I came back Monday and I was just, in a whole new universe.
A cleanse. Yeah.
Yes, a cleanse. Exactly. Exactly. That's where I'm at right now. I think every now and then we need it because there's just so much going on that a nice break is always good. But Robin, we are just a couple of hours away from Crown Jewel. Are you going to be waking up early to watch Crown Jewel?
I will. I mean, I'm going to be on Busted Open tomorrow.
Oh, you're filling in for me?
Yes. I don't know if I should say
sorry,
that.
Robin.
Like, watch Denise, even if you're in the car, listen to me. More or less.
It was funny because everybody was asking me, like, Denise, what are you going to do? Because Crown Jewel is on at the exact same time as my Busted Open show on Saturdays. And so I messaged Eddie and I was like, hey, would it be cool if I can do my Crown Jewel watch along and review like I normally do and just have somebody fill in for me on Busted Open? I messaged him weeks ago. So he was like, yeah, for sure. Not a problem. And I had a feeling that you were going to be the one that ended up filling in for me, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah. So yeah, it's me and Thunder Rosa tomorrow.
Oh, nice. Have you done a show with Thunder Rosa before?
I don't think I've done a full show. I've done a segment with her, but I don't think I've done a full show with her before.
Oh, nice. Okay, that'd be fun. She's very passionate, so you'll have a great time chatting with Thunder Rosa. All right, well, let's get to it. Crown Jewel. We had our show on SmackDown today in Perth, Australia, and damn, Robin, this crowd was lit the entire night. Chanting, screaming, made every match feel 10 times hotter. It was a great overall SmackDown that like flew by very fast, but it was a great crowd that I think really helped contribute to that.
I feel like it repeats sometimes because we say that so often with the international crowds. Maybe the U.S. crowd is spoiled, but whether it's France or Puerto Rico or wherever the WWE is at the time, it feels like there's a little extra oomph and extra energy when they're somewhere else, and that was the case for Perth as well.
Yeah, I think so too. So let's go ahead and kind of, I want to kick off the show with the way that the show ended, which was Damian Priest versus Aleister Black. So these are, our two favorite gothic guys on WWE. They've been battling it out now for a couple of weeks. Actually, no, maybe even a couple of months. It's been a minute since these two guys have been feuding. But I think today in this last man standing match that really gave them this big platform to be the main event on such a special show. But then also they had a pretty good ending in that saw Zelina Vega go out there and sort of be like, no, Damian Priest, please don't do nothing to my husband. Apparently she may have handed something to Aleister Black and that ended up being like this fireball in the face of Damian Priest. And I don't even remember the last time we saw a fireball in WWE. We've seen plenty of fireballs in AEW. We see them all the time. So it's really not nothing too crazy. But it's been a minute since we've seen them on WWE TV. So I was like, oh shit, a fireball? What? Like, I wasn't expecting it. It was very nicely executed. And I think it's the best thing we've seen Aleister Black do since he came back to WWE. How'd you feel about it?
100% agree. I mean, Aleister Black, he came back and was like, "Oh, Aleister Black's back," and then there's the like creepy entrance or whatever you want to call it, the foreboding entrance. You said it, emo Undertaker. That's what they call Damian Priest sometimes. I don't know what Aleister Black's nickname would be, but you can't. I have trouble with those characters. I brought this up with the Wyatt Six before. A lot of times, like the intro is great, but then where do you go from there? Because if you're not paying it off, if they're not looking formidable, any of those things, it's something that lasts. And it felt like Aleister Black might get lost in the shuffle again. After he initially came back, it was more like the entrance and all right, where do you go? This feels like a little spice for him. I mean, both guys, Priest has done a good job with these kind of feuds that are very physical or very passionate, and he's had a few of them. But I like the twist there at the end, and I like the element of surprise that the fireball brought, the involvement of Vega, and the way that finished. So I thought it was a strong finish to SmackDown and a good elevation of Aleister Black.
Now it feels like we're definitely seeing WWE real life married couples start to run the show. Because you got Becky and Seth, Punk and AJ, and now you have Zelina and Aleister. And it was crazy too, because you know what else I was thinking about when I saw them together, like hugging it out, Zelina and Aleister? Did they kind of remind you a little bit of Scarlett and Karrion Kross? They crossed my mind, and I started to think like, damn, imagine if we would have seen like this spooky couple versus this spooky couple, because they're both, very alternative. Hey, if we're doing this couple things, might as well go all the way with it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I get that too. And there's only so much room for that. You can't have
Everyone.
The dueling darkness.
Married couples Royal Rumble.
But it makes sense that they would lean into it, because in this era of kayfabe kind of being dead, right? And what was the Netflix doc again? I forget.
Unreal.
Unreal. When you're doing that, you might as well lean into it because people already know. So make it part of the show. And I think it also helps Aleister Black and maybe Zelina Vega in a sense, because it gives you that little bit more than the character had before.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think Zelina definitely, like, I want to see her continue doing more stuff with Aleister, because we've seen Zelina as a manager before when she was Andrade's manager, and I thought she did a phenomenal job. Like, let's not forget, she was very mean, very fiery on her promo. She had like a very commanding sort of presence, and I think it's been a long, long time since we've seen that side of Zelina. I think lately the side that we've been seeing of Zelina is more of like the tender, sensitive side versus her feisty side. And I prefer her feisty side. So I want to see that kind of come to light a little bit more with Aleister Black. And of course, that being her husband, hey, she's going to do even better if she's out there, managing her husband. And I think it's the right call to make, because like you said, it felt like they needed to do something a little bit more there with Aleister. And now that is where we are at. So I'm really glad that that's happening there. We got Infamous Raider Loco, who says, is that an indication that Lola's coming up to defend her man? So I believe, or according to the internet, Lola Vice and Damian Priest are a couple. I'm not really sure, but that is what the internet is saying. So we'll just run with it. Thank you, Infamous Raider Loco. We got Jacob Tatum here with a very generous super chat. Jacob, thank you so very much. He says, when will WWE Eli Drake win the main title? Because he's a really good wrestler. Plus, his promos are top tier. And who do you most contribute for your love of the sport of wrestling? Also, who introduced to the WWE? Hit the thumbs up, cry. No, money emoji. Thank you, Jacob. Okay, so to answer your question about who contributed most to my love of wrestling, I would that's a hard question. I feel like it was a bunch of people for me, Robin. Like, I think about, like, I was a big Chris Jericho fan at the time, but I was also a big Lita fan, a big Hardy Boys fan. I was a big Kurt Angle fan. So all of these people, I would say, contributed to that. And then on the personal side, my uncle, because he was the one who would take me to all of the shows. And without him, I would have never watched all of this. What about you, Robin?
Yeah, I mean, I have different era. I mean, I remember Ricky the Dragon Steamboat being my favorite when I was a little kid. That shows you my age. Then it was Shawn Michaels and Bret the Hitman Hart, and then Austin and Rock and that era. But there's a couple of things. One is my grandmother and my aunt in Mississippi. My mom's actually from Mississippi. So we would go down to Vicksburg, Mississippi every single year, stay at my grandma's house, right? And you're a kid, there's not much to do anywhere, but especially there's not that much to do in Mississippi. My grandmother had all these old like NWA action figures, Arn Anderson, Ric Flair on the floor. So she was into wrestling or wrestling as it was. And my aunt worked at a video store. So we would go to the video store, my brother and I, and rent a grip of Coliseum home videos and just go watch them in the bedroom. So that to me is like my wrestling, come up. I remember the Undertaker's debut from one of those tapes. That big ham hock there, as Roddy Piper said at the time. And then high school was DX and NWO and Austin and Rock. And then there's my kids in the pandemic, where I just remember being in the last apartment we lived in and randomly throwing on a Royal Rumble. And my oldest was like, what is this? And then we went and watched every single Royal Rumble, which, that's where my Roman Reigns fandom comes from, because it was in that era and everything. And I remember like, what was it, 2020, Brock Lesnar throwing everybody out of the thing, like, those experiences. So I definitely have specific moments and eras I can point to.
Yeah, it like mixes in where you're just like, oh man, like you can tie everything to like a different part of your life, which is nice because especially if you've been a lifelong fan, like both Robin and I, you can connect it to all of these different eras of your life when you're a little kid, when you're in high school, when you're in college, when you're parents, all of that. Very, very cool stuff there. Thank you so much, Jacob. That was a really nice question. We also got the Miss Demon Josh who says, hi, hope they bring back the mixed tag team match challenge. Yeah, I remember they did that like whole tournament on Facebook like several years ago. I never watched it like really that much I didn't watch it on Facebook. I watched like whatever they did show on TV, but that was like the extent of that. Thank you so much to Miss Demon Josh. We got Saeed Dunn. Super. Hey, Saeed, good to have you on. He says, everyone seemed to love the show, but it's putting lipstick on a pig. Same boring elderly people on TV. Need new young talent. 18-year-olds can be in the NWA. NBA, not NWA. NBA. He says 21-year-olds can fake fight on Netflix. Saeed came in here with a hot take. He was like, I got things to get off of my chest. I thought this was a very, very fast show to watch for SmackDown today. Like it flew by. And yes, I get it. Like you got a lot of older people on the show. A lot of the top stars are in their 40s, right? I get it. I do want to see new people also start to get built up, especially when we were talking about during the watch along, Robin, we were talking about the women's division and who was going to be next for Tiffany Stratton. And we kind of went through the women's SmackDown roster and we're like, we don't really got that many options. Like we got to bring up some NXT people. And yeah, unfortunately that happens sometimes. I don't want to kick, the quote unquote elderly people out because I'm fans of them, but I do want to see obviously an incorporation of, fresh faces, which we do see a little bit more on the Raw side.
Yeah, I mean, you could say lipstick on a pig or makeup on a Tonga. However you put it.
All right, Robin. All right, Robin's in his bag today.
But I agree with you. It was a good show, a fast-paced show. Nothing wrong with it at all. I mean, I kind of liked the presentation, even though it was a simple change for them. But I don't know. You always want to make new stars, so I agree with that point. But that doesn't happen like overnight. I actually think what SmackDown suffers from a little bit is a lack of star power. After Cody Rhodes comes out for the opening segment, who else on the show, and this is not to diss anybody, but who else on the show feels like, all right, they're
Randy's like the only one I can think of. Drew had it for a while, but they kind of watered him down a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, and he's doing the thing with Jacob Fatu. Again, nothing wrong with any of that, but it doesn't feel like, maybe it's because SmackDown had the bloodline going on for so long. Maybe it's because Raw just had a bunch. This last Raw had a lot of flags planted when it come to the superstar storylines, whether it was Seth Rollins and the friction with Paul Heyman, or CM Punk cutting at Jey Uso, or CM Punk cutting at LA Knight, or Jey Uso with Roman Reigns and reigniting. There was just like a lot of that. And SmackDown didn't have any of that. Like Aleister Black versus Damian Priest is a fine main event match to send off. The open challenge that Sami Zayn is doing is a good device and it's working, but there's not those guys right now on SmackDown.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, for the longest time, the Bloodline was the reason that you were tuning into SmackDown. It was like, if you're not tuning into SmackDown to watch the Bloodline, you're essentially missing out on the biggest thing that is happening in WWE right now. And so for a long time, that was what we were used to. SmackDown was the show that you were, talking about, that gave us something every single week. And I still think there's a lot of good things here and there. But yeah, I think when it comes to like the star power, we need to keep those people, we need to keep their lights on, because when they are, it's good shit. And like, I like that they're exploring, like you mentioned, Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu, and it looks like they're going to have a match next week. I love that. Like, okay, I'm feeling that. But when I also think about how they did water down Drew McIntyre a little bit, and then also with Jacob Fatu, I'm still salty at the fact that they like basically cut the legs from underneath him when he was United States champion. Like, they didn't let him really sink into what he could be as United States champion. So now you got these two guys that were kind of, maybe watered down just a tiny bit coming together. Okay, fans are still going to care about it, but they would have cared even more if you would have kept that energy that Drew McIntyre had from his feud with CM Punk, and also maybe had Jacob Fatu be champion a little bit longer.
Yeah, I mean, Jacob Fatu, it was kind of he disappeared a little bit too, right? But it feels like they're throwing him right back in the mix, because one thing we didn't mention was his little interaction with Cody Rhodes, which
yeah, that was interesting too. Yes,
that seemed to plant some seeds, like that Jacob Fatu may be on his way to some bigger things.
Well, he's that guy. I mean, look at how many how many positive reactions he was getting from the crowds. Like, every time Fatu came out, especially during like those early days when he had a lot of buzz, people were like losing their shit. And remember when he would go in there and just be like this madman and go off and get everybody with flying headbutts and all of these things. And people were like, oh shit, like, you really got this madman that's been unleashed on the roster. We want to see him wrestle everybody. I think they kind of need to remind us of that, and really remind us of that. But I do want to talk a little bit about Cody Rhodes, and he kicked off the show here today. Really, really simple, straightforward promo, kind of talking about Crown Jewel. He's got the Crown Jewel Championship behind him. Of course, he's going to be facing Seth Rollins. Robin, I haven't been able to get your thoughts on how you have felt about the way that they have put together this story with Seth and Cody.
I love it. I really do. I love it. Cody has beaten Seth all these times, and they're rubbing that in, but then they're giving it some implication. It's not just bragging rights, right? Like Seth Rollins, it feels like a big match for him. It feels like he has to win this match. So how does that transpire? How does that come about? Because if he loses, I mean, Paul Heyman already said it, they're going to lose faith in him, right? Like, what was this group? How did it come together? And the injury angle that they pulled was so big and so shocking and so well executed that you have to feel like it's not just going to get nipped in the bud that quickly. So how they get to the finish there and how they resolve it is very intriguing, because I in some ways it almost feels like the most important match of Seth Rollins' career.
Right, because he's got pride on the line. Imagine
Yeah.
losing to the man that, if he loses again, that would be the fourth loss to Cody Rhodes. Come on, Robin. Like, anybody here, as a man, even as a woman, I would be like, oh, hells no, I'm not about to lose to the same person 4 times. Like, my pride would really, really take a hit, and my ego would take a hit. So even though Seth, I don't think Seth is going to defeat Cody Rhodes cleanly. Does he have to? I don't know. I think he's so desperate that it almost doesn't really matter. Like, he's going to do anything just to get the win so that he can, walk with his head up.
And maybe that leads to a surprise, or how that goes down, unless he just does it clean. I mean, look, I feel like Cody Rhodes can take the L in this circumstance a lot easier than Seth Rollins. So I have to imagine, by hook or by crook, Seth Rollins comes out on top at Crown Jewel. But to answer your initial question, I think it's actually been fairly brilliant how they've positioned the match.
We got blinging with Kimberly here. Thank you so much, Kimberly, for the super chat. Says, maybe Triple H is listening to us and improving SmackDown. So what I've heard from like the grapevines and people that have talked and all of this stuff, I don't even know where, like on social media, podcasts, you name it, whatever. People seem to be under the assumption that like Triple H is very, very like he knows what the fans are saying. And I truly believe that. Like I truly believe Triple H is very in the know with what the fans are saying on social media. And I know sometimes they like to act like social media isn't a real place or whatever. We're not here to accommodate those people. But I think it is very obvious. And I would find it very shocking if Triple H didn't look at what people are saying online. Because at the end of the day, I heard Mark Ramondi talk about this one time. And he was saying like there is no real other scripted form of television that instantly following an episode, you get instant feedback that you can actually change and apply the following episode, right? Because whenever you're watching your favorite shows on Netflix or whatever, they already got their season. It's already out there. It's done. It's shot. It's edited. It don't matter if you didn't like episode 2. Like episode 3 is already done. And with wrestling, it's ever evolving where you can actually say your thoughts. And, if you get so many people saying something, chances are the powers that be are going to see that and implement those changes in the following week, right? Like you can do that. It's like instant. And I think that's one of the things that it's almost like a pro and a con in wrestling, right? Because in one way, I think the fans were very, very outspoken in how we feel. But at the same time, we should be, right? I don't know. What do you think?
Fans are part of the show. I feel like you have to know the difference between a real movement and random complaining. Because social media is not real life in a lot of ways. I see it all the time where you'll get a lot of loud people on social media that don't necessarily reflect the audience, right? Like, for instance, the critiques of Jey Uso. Not that they don't exist amongst the fan base at large, but when you go into an arena and you see the reaction to Jey Uso coming out, you know that those tweets aren't representative of the larger group. That's just the first example I could think of in my head. Versus what happened with Cody Rhodes and The Rock leading up to WrestleMania 40, where it had to be course correct and changed because there was a legitimate movement. That was legitimately how the fan base at large was feeling, and they weren't going to accept the product otherwise. So you have to have your finger on the pulse in that sense to see what's actually the real reaction from the fans, what's a mixed reaction from the fans, which can be okay, or what's just, some randos complaining because randos complain all the time about any and everything. At the same time, you also have this phenomenon that's going on lately where we've seen the ratings go down kind of across the board, and it's influenced by the new way that they're computing them, Nielsen's new methodology of counting. So when you're in this big corporation here that answers to shareholders, that's selling product like SmackDown to USA Network for fees, that it has this big deal with Netflix, and you're expected to deliver a certain audience, and you see that the audience numbers may not be up to expectations as of lately. That's the kind of thing that will be a kick in the ass, because you have to answer to those corporate overlords, and the only way to help those numbers back up is to get creative. So, that you would hope is also a good thing for the quality of the product. It's not a sky is falling situation, but it's something that will get them noticing it rather than simply complacent when they know they can chug along, charge you all this money for the tickets, and just put whatever on the plate.
I actually feel like you gave some really great examples right there with the Rock Cody stuff and the Jey Uso stuff, where it was like maybe one was bigger than the other. Because I remember doing that SmackDown episode. And Robin, I don't think you were on board just yet during that time, or maybe you missed. I don't know what was happening that week, whatever. I don't think you were on board yet when that happened here on the channel. And I remember popping into SmackDown and doing my post show. And I think I spent like 40 minutes yelling into the air because I was so flabbergasted by what we had seen. And so, that was like a legitimate what the fuck kind of moment. Whereas, okay, Jey Uso winning the Rumble was like, okay, that was surprising, but I'm not going to go be like, yo, F WWE for this, right? Like, I'm not going to do that. So it is sort of finding, like you said, those proper balances. But at the end of the day, when you're talking about the show in its totality, you do want it to be good, and you do want people coming up here and saying good things about it. So I feel like being vocal helps. helps in certain aspects, especially when it comes to like us saying, hey, why haven't we seen Julia wrestle? She hasn't been on the show. Hey, we want to see something happen with the United States Championship. And it matters. At least I think it does. Thank you so much, Blinging with Kimberly. That was a great comment here. We got Randy Hayward here who says WWE cut Kylie Ray because issues with Y2J have issues with Y2J have come if he comes back, question mark. So I don't know what exactly happened there with Kylie. Like, I don't know if this is a rumor, if this is a report. I'm not exactly sure, Randy, what's happening there. I actually assume that these two things are, maybe it's naive, I don't know, but I don't think those two things are related here. At least I would hope not, because if that was the case, that would be a really sucky situation for Kylie Ray. So I hope that's not the case. I actually haven't looked into like why exactly why she's no longer with the WWE ID program. So like there was a lot that kind of came out today. There was like a couple of releases that were taking place for both WWE NXT and the WWE ID program. I have this article here that says that Stevie Turner, Draco Knox, Jamar Hampton all announced their release from WWE on Friday. Zara announced that her contract with the WWE ID program had expired. And then also Lance Anoa'i also announced earlier in the day that he too had been released from the company. Apparently all these people got 30-day non-compete clauses, but that's where we're at right now. So a couple of people that are no longer with the company in different facets. Thank you, Randy. We got Bob Ross Jr. here who says, reminder, SmackDown won King and Queen of the Ring, so don't be surprised if Raw does a clean sweep at Crown Jewel. Hey, man, possibly. We'll look at the card right now, actually. Let me pull it up. Let's do some quick predictions, actually, while we're on the Super Chat when it comes to winner predictions. Roman and Bronson, I think that's definitely going to be Roman, right? What do you think?
Yeah, though, it's interesting. I mean, Roman won the last time against Bronson Reed. So, and then what they did, the whole thing when they beat him up and he got taken out on a stretcher. So, is it just a clean Roman win here? There's a part of me that says be shocking and go with the Bronson Reed win. But yeah, I'll say Roman.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Roman too. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky versus the Kabuki Warriors. I mean, I want them to keep this going, and I think to keep it going, you got to have the Kabuki Warriors looking strong. But I also love Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, plus it's in Australia, so I feel like I got to go with the baby faces on this one.
I'm going with your initial instinct. I think the Kabuki Warriors win to give them a little bit of heat and a little bit of leverage and power here.
And then John Cena is trying to get his 100th PLE victory. He's going up against AJ Styles. Come on, can we just have John Cena grab that damn 100th victory already?
Yeah, he's going to. I mean, no offense to AJ Styles, who's a legend, but he's been like dipping his toe in jobber territory the last however many.
Sadly, yeah.
I can't remember.
Like, what are you doing to us?
When's the last time AJ Styles won on a big show? I can't remember.
Oof, I don't know. But also we'll be talking more about AJ Styles in the year to come, since he's looking like he's retiring soon. He says retiring next year, actually. All right, and then for the actual Crown Jewel matches, you got the Raw champion, Stephanie, and then Tiffany over on the SmackDown side. So Bob Ross is expecting Raw to do a clean sweep. I think that might be right, actually, because I'm expecting Stephanie to defeat Tiffany. I'm expecting Steph to defeat Cody. So I think you might be right. Are you expecting anything differently with those two matches, Robin?
I concur.
All right, sweet. All right, we got our quick predictions in. Thank you, Bob. Oh my goodness, Day the Mexican with a very massive super chat. Day, thank you so much. He says, hey, Robin, Denise connection. Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say my connection was off. Oh my God. I panicked for a second. I was having Wi-Fi issues the other day. That's why. He says, hey, Robin, Denise connection. Hope all is well. Me and my girl ate Chinese food for you guys. Yes. Then went to Five Below. That's my favorite store. Next door, saw the Stone Cold Teens shirt. I bought that shirt, but not my size. Can't wait forever. Crown Jewels, but got to work tomorrow. Day to Mexican, by the way, Robin, is always working, which we're very proud of, by the way. You got to do what you got to do. So anytime he's got time off, it's always a good vibe. But he went earlier. He checked in earlier during the watch along, went to go have Chinese food with his girlfriend. So that's why he's updating us right now.
Well, I mean, look, he must, he bought the Chinese food and he bought this chat. So that work is going to good work.
So Robin, okay, so I told Day Day, I'm like, please eat all the Chinese food on my behalf because I'm dieting right now and I love Panda Express. I love orange chicken. I love chow mein and I've been craving it so badly. So I was like, please eat on my behalf.
What do you diet? What's your diet?
Honestly, it's just like not eating crap. It's very simple. Don't eat crap and eat healthier than you normally do.
There you go. Yeah.
And workout. Workout's like really the big thing. Yeah. So it's happening. Thank you, Day Day. All righty. Let's see what we got here. All right, let's keep it going with SmackDown and some other really big moments that went down. Sami Zayn defeated Shinsuke Nakamura in the US Open Challenge. I wasn't too surprised to see Shinsuke Nakamura answer this challenge because he had been lurking in the background a couple of weeks ago during a backstage promo between Rey Fenix and Sami Zayn. So I wasn't surprised at all with Shinsuke showing up here. This was like Shinsuke's best match that we've seen, I'm going to say like in a year or more. I don't remember the last time I saw a really great Shinsuke match. Sorry, Shinsuke.
You know what
am I
else?
wrong?
No, you're not wrong at all. What helps is when his music hits by surprise, because his music is really good. So like you didn't know when it's an open challenge, you don't like it's not an advertised Shinsuke Nakamura match, so you're not prepped for the music. So I think it gets it off to a good start. And then it was a good match. And then it was it had the reintroduction finish to call back to my line about the lipstick on a pig, paint on a tanga. But they brought those guys out with a different presentation, which they then brought back out with the Wyatt Six. So kind of interesting to see.
Are you hyped for it?
Am I hyped?
Yeah. Robin's like, damn it, Denise, why'd you ask that question?
I mean, hyped is a little strong.
All right, on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your level of excitement?
I'll give it a 6.
Oh, yeah, okay. I'm with you. All right, a 6 is nice. A 6 is like a little bit more than like medium.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than it was before.
Look, I know a lot of people were kind of like didn't really care about the what was it, the Wyatt Six and the MFTs having their stare down. I saw it in a way of like, okay, they're out there with the face paint, and then you got the spooky people. Halloween's coming up. I don't know. I'm correlating with something so stupid, but also legitimately, the two groups didn't really have anything major going on, so they kind of found each other with them both needing something to be happening on this show.
It looked cool.
Yeah, it was fine. It was fine. We also saw Stephanie Vaquer and Tiffany Stratton team up to take on Julia and Kiana James. But not a bad match. I thought this was probably the best performance I'd ever seen from Kiana James. So good for her. I mean, we don't really watch her wrestle that often, so that's why I thought it was her best performance. Tiffany Stratton and Stephanie Vaquer, they didn't really collide with one another for the most part. I thought they worked very well together, and Tiffany got the win for her team.
Yeah, like, no, I mean, I think it definitely worked. It's one of those ones where if you hadn't mentioned it to me again, I don't know if it would have like gotten into my mental Rolodex right away. But it certainly flowed within the framework of the show. And, it helps set the tone a little bit for the participants and for the fact that we've got Tiffany Stratton and Vaquer.
I'm so excited for that match. That's the match I'm most looking forward to, truly. And I'll be looking forward to it at 5 a.m. All right, we got one more super chat, and then we're bouncing. We got Jacob Tatum here who says, who wins the main title first, Braun Breaker or Eli Drake? Plus, do you think adding Breaker and Reed to Raw tag team division would Plus, do you think adding Breaker and Reed to Raw tag team division would help or do nothing? Of course, it would help the tag team division, but I think it would take away from Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. Who I think will win the title first? Definitely Braun Breaker. I just don't know what the situation like. I have kind of gone back and forth with LA Knight, and there's been times where I thought like the moment was going to happen, and then it just didn't happen. So I got to go with Braun Breaker.
Yeah, CM Punk cut LA Knight up. Yeah, he saw Tatum the other day. He had him on one of those sticks, like some gyro.
And he could have gone even further. He held back.
Yeah, but you could tell LA Knight was actually like a little caught off guard. Yeah, in that like it took him a second to gather his thoughts. But Braun Breaker is the answer. I agree, and I agree with your sentiment that, yeah, of course it would help the tag team division, but it would lessen the hype around Reed and especially Breaker to make them part of a tag team when you're trying to make them breakout stars.
Yeah, I'm honestly with you. The whole purpose of this is to have them break out as big stars. We were talking about needing more stars on the show. That's what you got to do. Thank you so much, Jacob. Very nice of you. Alrighty, guys. Well, there you have it. That was Friday Night Smackdown. And of course, we'll be here tomorrow for Crown Jewel. I'll be here doing the watch along, doing a review. So I hope you guys come through, hang out, all of that. But before we go, Robin, please tell the people where they can support you and check out all of your work.
So, am I allowed to promote that I'm on Busted Open tomorrow?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you're filling in for me.
I'm Busted Open tomorrow with Thunder Rosa.
Denise is running from the grind.
I did get the ring. You can check me out on YouTube, of course, Robert Lundberg over there, and socials. And I mentioned I did get the Ring Rascals channel up and running. Want to continue to populate that, but we did a video this week on what my kids knew about the Hardy Boys, because
that's cute.
Yeah, they had won the NXT titles, so I asked them what they knew about the Hardy Boys.
Oh my gosh, you know what would be adorable? If you did like word association with like legends and like try to get with your, like try to think what your son, like how does your son see? Like if you say the name Ultimate Warrior.
Okay. That's good.
What is his like perception of that? I don't know.
That's a good idea for like a fast moving game.
Yeah,
I also have like a bedtime stories bit that I want to figure out how to present, but like the Montreal screw job as like a bedtime story.
Oh, that's funny. You gotta make it like cartoonish and stuff.
Yeah, the bash at the beach, the whole Hollywood Hogan turn, like stuff, these big, tent pole moments. Austin 316 says, I just whooped your ass. Those sort of things as like bedtime stories to tell them how it came to be.
Yes. See, like you can do fun stuff like that. It would be very unique because I don't think anyone's doing that in this space at all.
No, probably not.
At all. Alrighty, guys, that is it for us as here. Please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. If you're already here, click that subscribe button. We'll be back for Crown Jewel. I'll be streaming Crown Jewel. I'll be streaming Bound for Glory. So it's going to be a very, very busy weekend. Alrighty, everybody, take care. Bye all.
Yeet.